who had a bit of an issue at the public house. Right, item 2, declarations of interest to receive disclosures of unregistered...
Madam Mayor.
Sorry.
I took apologies from Councillor Moody just now.
Councillor Moody.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. To receive disclosures of unregistered or other interests from councillors on matters to be considered at the meeting. This disclosure shall include the nature of the interest. If a member becomes aware during the course of a meeting of an interest that has not been disclosed under this item, they must immediately disclose it. So please either declare any interests that you have now or as soon as you become aware of it. Thank you. Item 3, minutes of the council meeting. A, to confirm the minutes of the meeting of Tavistock Town Council held on Tuesday the 25th of June 2019. Thank you. The Town Clerk is handing out a piece of paper. Are you reading this from me?
This will be when we get to page 6.
Okay, so apart from the amendment which we will take when we get to page 6, can we confirm that these are a true record of the meeting held on the 25th of June, please? Okay, so I'll go through the pages, page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and page 6. Mr Town Clerk, please.
Yep, thank you. Thank you very much to Councillor Mr Parker for his email earlier. If you look at the bottom of page 6, this would be to delete the resolution and the paragraph above, so the last 2 paragraphs, and to replace it with the amended wording which has been circulated to you if you are in agreement. As officers, we're quite happy with the proposed corrected wording.
Thank you. Happy with that? Okay. Move on to page 7, 8 and page 9. Thank you. Everybody in favour, please show. Thank you. That's, I think, unanimous. I'm sure that's as well. Right. B, matters arising. Any matters arising? No. Okay, we move on now to item 4, public representations and questions. To receive any representations or previously submitted questions from members of the public in attendance. I'm very pleased to warmly welcome Sarah Cooper here this evening, who has a question for the Council.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes. I would like to say that I am very conscious of how hard you work and the terribly tight budget you're under, and I'm not coming here as an antagonist. I come here in peace. I put a question to the Council about climate emergency, so I'll just read out my email. The Town Council narrowly voted against a climate emergency on the basis that they lacked funding to act. Has the Council since taken any advice as to the costs and effects of various climate policies? There are a number of organisations like Can Do Cities that identify the needs and demands of a local community and provide a guide to the investment costs and range and returns of a range of sustainable strategies. I would like to mention that of the 408 UK councils, 271 have declared a climate emergency. These councils range in size and budget from county, unitary and borough to town and parish. Parliament has also declared a climate emergency, and Theresa May has legislated to bring forward the UK's target of carbon zero. Whether or not the Tavistock Town Council deems there is a budget, there is no doubt we have a climate emergency, and all future policies will have to take this into account. I think that the word that is being ignored is emergency. So my question is, I'm would like to have reassurance that this is not going to be put onto the back burner, that this is going to be regarded as a very, very important issue, because our community is beginning to ask questions, and I think they need direction and leadership from the Town Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Town Clerk will respond now, please.
Madam Mayor, would you like me to, because the answer is going to be the same, we've got a very similar question from another member of the public who's unable to be here. Would you like me to read that one as well? And
Yes,
then I'll
please.
read the response, because the response will be the same for both. The other representation we have, and I'll read it in full. My name is Penny Twine and I live in Priory Close, Whitchurch, Tavistock. I would like to formally ask the Council a question with regards to climate change. Since the beginning of July, when the Council voted against declaring a climate emergency, a number of things have happened. There has been a mass lobby of MPs at Westminster, and Theresa May, the Prime Minister, has legislated to bring forward the date by which the UK must go carbon zero. There is also now a very worrying recognition of the desperate state of our environment and the collapse of biodiversity. Both climate change and our ecosystems are affected by the same root problems. They are of equal concern, and the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and the WWF, World Wildlife Fund, have both stressed that urgent action is needed. As a rural county, we have particular responsibility to safeguard the environment and biodiversity, as the action needed to address these issues is the same as the action required to halt climate change. When are you going to acknowledge the climate emergency we face? I look forward to your positive and active response. And the response to both questions, given their similarity on behalf of the Council, is thank you for your question and drawing your views to the attention of the Council. By way of clarification, the Council did not vote against declaring a climate emergency as such, but against declaring it at the time of the last meeting, pending appropriate due diligence. Initiatives which seek to support environmentally sound and sustainable practice and which acknowledge the importance of our environment are to be welcomed. This is an area where work has already been undertaken by the Council around energy efficiency, biodiversity, compacting and recycling, but there is more to be done. Looking forward, and subject to the outcome of tonight's meeting, a working group of the Budget and Policy Committee will look holistically at the range of issues and options available to it, including with regards to actions that can be taken in support of a climate emergency. And we will also pass that on electronically to both of the respondents, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Right, thank you. We move now on to item 5, General Finance, Schedule of Payments, to consider and endorse the monthly accounts as at the 31st of May 2019. The schedule has been circulated to members. Were there any questions this month, Mr Town Clerk?
We had questions from one member, which I hope have been addressed satisfactorily.
Thank you. And then we move on to... Sorry, Councillor Parker.
Following the meeting we had on finance earlier, can we... sorry, did that? I apologise. Can we ask the Policy and Budget Committee to consider the need for report 5A to be circulated to the full Council, or rather just post it on the Council's website for the sake of transparency?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. The Town Clerk will bring the item forward. Thank you. We now move on to the Budget Monitoring Report. Just 16% through the year, so it's early days, but it's quite an interesting report. Don't know if there are any questions on that. Okay. Right. Councillor Parker.
Just a quick question, please, Madam Mayor. Speaking with the Town Clerk earlier, I've not had a chance to chat this through with him. I'd asked where I could find the full budget with all the budget heads. I've found it, but there are more in that January report than there are in the monthly update. In fact, there only seem to be half the budget heads in. I just wonder what happens to the rest.
Thank you, sir. The situation basically is that there will be some budget heads which... Are you talking about cost codes or cost centres? These will be the cost codes, but there will be multiple cost centres. So, for example, your capital programme will need to be picked up separately, and that will pick up how some of this spend occurs and also other spends. So we will circulate to you at your next meeting both this, which represents revenue spend, and the equivalent document, which represents the capital spend of the Council.
What I'm talking about is the cost codes. These cost codes seem to stop at 4501, The January report goes on right the way through the 5,000s.
Happy to pick it up with you afterwards, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay with that then. Moving on to item 6, Budget and Policy Committee. Ask Councillor Williamson, the Vice Chairman, please to present those minutes.
I rise to present the minutes of the Budget and Policy Committee held here on Wednesday the 24th of July at 6:30 p.m. Minute number 89, apologies for absence, Councillor Hutton. I therefore chaired the meeting. Item 90, confirmation of minutes. These had been previously before full council and were then referred back to Budget Policy for me to sign as the acting chairman. Number 91, declarations of interest. Number 92, public conveniences in Tavistock, for which there was a recommendation on page 2 at the head. It was recommended that a public conveniences subcommittee of not more than 4 members, who may be drawn from the whole of the council membership, plus in addition the chairman and vice chairman of budget and policy ex officio voting, be appointed. And recommendation B, same to be charged to review and make recommendations in connection with the proposed transfer and future operating arrangements leading up to 1st of April 2020 of public conveniences scheduled to be transferred to the Town Council in order to facilitate a timely, informed and coordinated transfer of service.
Right, thank you, Councillor Williamson. So there's a recommendation there that we form a public conveniences subcommittee. 4 people who were at the Budget and Policy Committee have put their names forward, but that does not mean to say that they will be the people who will need to be on it. Those people who've already volunteered are Councillor Ms Crawford, myself, Councillor Ellis and Councillor Smith Harry. Do we have anybody else who's interested? Councillor Crawford?
Yes. You've just withdrawn my name from that, actually.
Okay, thank you. Right, so we now have 3 volunteers. Do we have anybody else who's interested in joining that group? Councillor Smith Barry. Thank you. Anybody else? We won't need to go to a vote then. Those people will be on that group. Thank you. Thank you for volunteering, everybody. There's lots of work to be done. I did see that we've had the first response from the Borough Council now, haven't we? Mr. Town Clerk.
We have, Madam Mayor, and it looks as if the logjam that we had has now begun to clear, and we will convene this group shortly, but we are already in the process of making inquiries with regard to the arrangements we can put in place for condition surveys in order that you will have appropriate information on which to base your decisions.
Thank you very much, Town Clerk. Councillor Williamson, please continue.
I continue. Minute number 93, Tavistock Town Council's debtors process. There was a recommendation. It was recommended that the revised generic debtors process, as set out in at Appendix 2 to the report, be adopted and endorsed.
Right, thank you. Any comments on that? Are we in favour of that happening? Thank you. Those show, please, who are in favour. Thank you. Councillor Williamson.
I continue. Minute number 94, pre-policy development and scoping, arising from consideration of the issues in the report from the Town Clerk. It was recommended that A, reports be prepared in connection with how the Council might develop work streams regarding little I1, the sustainability and the environment, and little 2, or 2 I's, communications with the first sustainability and the environment being brought forward to the next meeting, and B, the principles as set out in paragraph 4.3, 1 to 5, Roman of the report be adopted and endorsed for the development of related work streams.
Thank you. Right, so we've got a recommendation there. Is it your wish, Councillor Parker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've spoken to the Town Clerk earlier, and I think we're agreed this is the right place to raise it. I meet informally with Councillor Jory every now and again, and our conversation got on to the issue of climate emergency, sustainability and the environment. and he pointed out to me that the West Devon Council have set up a committee, a group, to consider it. That group's moving forward. An invitation has been made to members of this council, and it's been repeated by Councillor Spettigue, that if members of the council, of this council, wish to join the meeting of their committee, even before the next Policy and Budget Committee, they'd be very, very welcome, with the objective of making sure that we all know what each of us is doing and that we don't fall over each other's feet. And I know I've spoken to a number of members tonight, and I know there's real interest in people going to that meeting. I've got no date for it yet, I will find.
If Councillor Jury could perhaps circulate an invitation to members, then we can, that would be a good idea, please.
I spoke to him earlier and he'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Could I also say that the session, the scoping session that was held, I thought was brilliantly organised. I've done work like that myself many times. I don't think I've seen it done better, and I think the report that went to Policy and Budget hits the nails right on the head. So congratulations to the Town Clerk and the team.
Thank you very much. Councillor Smith.
Yeah, it's just a minor amendment so that we have it correct. It's paragraph 4.3, 1 to 6, not 1 to 5, I think.
Thank you. So we've got a recommendation. Are you happy to go with that? Please show who's in favour.
Agreed.
Thank you. That's carried. Right, thank you. I think that's the end of the budget and policy for now. So thank you very much, Councillor Williamson. Item 7, Development Management and Licensing Committee. Councillor Mann, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is going to be my first time actually presenting minutes, so please
Well done.
tell me if I've gone wrong. These are the minutes of the meeting of the Development Management and Licensing Committee from Tuesday the 23rd of July at 6:15 p.m. We had an apology for absence from Councillor Hutton. 81 is confirmation of minutes. 82 is declarations of interest. I don't need to read the declarations, do I?
No.
83, Dartmoor National Park Authority. We had a notice of a grant of conditional planning permission for the Cleve Quarry, and we noted that. 84, we had town planning issues. And do I need to do those? There's no recommendation.
No, that's fine.
85, general correspondence. 86, urgent business. 87, planning decisions. And 88, the next Development Management and Licensing Committee meeting.
Councillor Parker?
For the record, I believe we've just been through the minutes of the 23rd of July.
Yes, we have. We're going back to the 2nd of July afterwards. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, we'll go back to the 2nd of July.
Thank you. So those minutes have been presented. Can I have a seconder for those, please? Those in favour, please show. Thank you. So, Councillor Mann, if we can now go back to the 2nd of July, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I can. Travel in time. So these are the minutes of the 2nd of July at 6:15. This is the meeting at which we actually had Alexis Huggins meet, who brought us the information about the Open Space Sport and Recreation report, which we then created a committee to have a look at. Number 71 is apologies for absence. 72, confirmation of minutes. 73, declarations of interest. 74, Dartmoor National Park Authority. 75, town planning issues. 76, general correspondence. 77, urgent business brought forward at the discretion of the chairman. 78, planning decisions and applications. And 79, the next Development Management and Licensing Committee meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Do we have a seconder for those, please? Thank you. Those in favour, please show. Thank you, that's carried. Thank you very much. Right, we now move on to items circulated for information only. Item 8, service reports. The first one is the Works Department report. I don't think anybody had any questions there, so can we note that? Sorry, Councillor Mrs Ewing.
I'm sorry. Could I just ask, under the maintenance, the second, third and fourth bullet points, no, maybe just second and third, what is the cause of us having to do so much maintenance work on brand new equipment in the meadows and repairs to Portland's play area, please?
General Manager, are you able to answer that, please?
Primarily vandalism.
Thank you.
Can you confirm that that's all been reported to the police as an issue?
Confirmed.
Thank you. Otherwise we'll be continually told that numbers are going down. Thank you. Any other questions on this report? No? Can we note that then, please? Thank you very much. Now move on to the Town Hall and Butchers Hall Managers Report. Can I make a couple of comments there, please? First of all, the licensing training. Can I say well done on the stock audit and analysis for the Town Hall Bar? That's very good. And I'd also like to make a comment about the Tavistock Community Festival of Food and Craft. Can I say well done to everyone involved on that day, the 16th of July, to the volunteers, to the staff, to the traders, community groups. And I'd like to say my personal special thanks to Becky, who worked really hard on that event, especially when the day was changed. Originally the day was changed was a plan for the Wednesday, and then it was changed for Tuesday. So she's got lots of people, community groups, traders, all lined up for the Wednesday, and then she had to change it to the Tuesday. As well as the news of it was embargoed until the Thursday before, so you had to say to people, well, you really need to come, it'll be really good, it'll be, you know, worthwhile you coming, but we couldn't tell people why. So she had a very difficult job. I'd like to thank Wayne for his experience and his professionalism, which shone through on the day. He was very relieved, I think, when everybody arrived and all the risk assessments and the traffic orders had all been actioned. And finally, I'd like to say thank you to Carl. I realise what an outstanding town clerk we have in Mr Hearn. He certainly looked the part, and I'm sure as a very proud Cornishman enjoyed speaking to the Duke of Cornwall. So thank you very much to everybody who came along to that. There's lots of you involved in many different ways for it, so thank you. Right, any other comments on the manager? Councillor Mrs Ewing.
On page 2, the second paragraph down, about knock-on effects from previous management as to lack of bookings in the town hall. Is there any clarity on that, please?
General Manager.
That relates to the fact that we're in an interim review. We're looking at schedules of fees and charges, etc., which has always been quite a challenge to apply the new schedules of fees and charges to the new operating structure.
Okay, thank you.
Right, any other comments or questions on this report? No, can we note it then, please? Thank you.
Noted.
Right, moving on then to the Pannier Market report. Can I make a couple of comments on this as well, please? First of all, a comment about the meeting between staff representatives and market traders, with the emphasis on positivity, rules and regulations and effective communication. I think that's a step really in the right direction, and I'm very encouraged by that step. And the TripAdvisor reports, my son tells me that of the 16 things that are listed on TripAdvisor to do in Tavistock, the Pannier Market is number 1. So I think that should be really celebrated by the Town Council, and well done to the Pannier Market. So, and the words that people put together for them are very encouraging, so thank you for that. Any other questions or comments on that report? No? Noted, thank you. Right, now we move on to Finance and Other Matters, the report of the Assistant to the Town Clerk, which is enclosed. Can I say well done to Councillor Parker, Graham Parker, who will serve with Gay Hill and Jan Goffey on the larger councils. That's a very impressive team, so I look forward to hearing the progress. So, yeah, it'll be quite interesting, but it's good to know we're well represented there, so thank you. Any other questions or comments on that report? Noted. Thank you. Next one is Southern Links. I attended this meeting. This is in draft form, these notes, and there are a number of things that I will be questioning. First of all, a couple of people who were listed as present and then gave their apologies, so that doesn't work very well. And I think this was just copied and pasted from the last time by the look of it. But I have spoken to them about it, and I'll be speaking to the chairman about these minutes. But one thing that did come up was if there's any feedback from the Development, Management and Licensing Committee about the way that planning applications are received now, they would welcome that feedback being sent to the Borough Council. So maybe that's something that could be considered on the next DMNL meeting. I think ours has probably settled down, but for some of the smaller parishes it's a real issue not having paper copies. They really do struggle. Some places haven't got any IT, can't get any reception. Some places certainly don't have the equipment to do it with, so it's a bit of an issue, but if we can put that on there, that would be good. Any questions or comments on the Southern Links? Thank you. I see it's Tavistock Bid Company, minutes of the meeting held on the 19th of June. Noted. Okay.
Oh,
So, Councillor Mrs Ewing?
yeah, there was something right at the very bottom on page 11.
Page 11?
Item 11, so sorry. Saying that we owed money to bid.
For the Tavistock guide, can we look into that, please, Mr Town Clerk, and see if that actually is so still? And Councillor Williamson, can you feed that back, please?
Yeah.
We had a formal apology from the bids who actually said that we were a debtor to the bid, and they reported it incorrectly and were chasing up a debt which we had already paid.
I was going to say, because we pay everything miles in advance.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Apologies for that meeting, so...
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I noticed you weren't there.
I was unwell.
I was just aghast when I read that.
Right, we now move on to item D, which is West Devon Borough Council report. I'm delighted to say that Councillor James Spettigue is here this evening. He's presented us with a written report, which is most informative. I don't know if anybody has any questions for Councillor Spettigue.
Yeah.
Councillor Mrs Crawford.
Yeah, thank you. It's an excellent report, actually. I just wondered if there was any update on the bus station toilets.
Information, as currently as I know it, is included in the report, but I have been reassured by the leader of the Borough Council that discussions are ongoing, and I'm not privy to the details, so I can't share them with you, but there's certainly been, as far as I understand it, proactive to get a resolution to the problem as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Can I just comment? There was a comment on social media where the other evening, which I saw, which stated that this seemed to have fallen off the agenda. So that was why I just wondered if there was any update. And really, it's about reminding people that this remains with West Devon. It's not a Tavistock Town Council issue, and hopefully that West Devon will be able to resolve it for us.
I couldn't agree more.
Thank you, Councillor Graham Parker and Councillor Councillor Graham Parker.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to make a comment on that. There are two things happening on the bus station. Both of them are commercial, which is why James, commercially confidential, which is why James can't say anything. I'm involved in them as a private citizen, and I can tell you that progress is being made.
Thank you. Right, so can I thank James very much for his excellent report. Thank you. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Certainly shall. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. Project update to receive an additional oral update in connection with Tavistock Townscape Heritage Initiative scheme and the Guildhall Gateway Centre project. Mr Town Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In relation to the THI scheme, just to advise members that we had our ongoing monitor meeting with Heritage Lottery Fund earlier this month, and they continue to be satisfied, indeed pleased with progress of that scheme. With relation to the Guildhall Gateway Centre project, we will come to that later on the agenda, but what I would say is their early indications were that in relation to the Council's value engineering and mitigation strategy, that they were very comfortable with that as well. Otherwise, we'll pick that up, I think, when we get to that item, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Item F, to receive any update from or questions to Council representatives serving on other outside bodies in connection with the work of those bodies. Little 2, feedback from members following their attendance at any training sessions. Does anybody have anything from outside bodies, first of all, to report? Councillor Smith?
I'm attending my first meeting for the Dartmoor Commons Owners Association next week. If anyone has anything that they want to ask or particular areas that they'd be interested in, can they send me an email or see me after the meeting? That was...
Excellent, thank you very much. Councillor Parker?
I attended along with the Town Clerk, my first meeting of the DALC some time ago. I had intended to circulate the minutes when I received them. I've not received any yet. I'm chasing them up, and I will circulate them to all members. But interesting meeting, covered a huge range of topics. Really impressed by what's going on, and climate change was very high on the agenda. Thank you.
Okay. Any other reports? No? So thank you for those reports. Always feel free to bring those forward to Council, because it's good for us all to know what's going on. There's no County Council report or police report. I did work with Councillor Sellis last Friday morning. I went out to Crelake Close, which is part of my ward, and looked at a number of issues which were Devon County Council issues, and she took them on board and is dealing with them, which is excellent. So that was good. Okay, item 10, to receive such communications or reports as may be submitted by the Town Mayor. I just have one thing to, hopefully everybody has had a letter about the fire service in Tavistock. Can I just remind you that the consultation runs until the 20th of September, and Devon and Somerset Fire and Rescue Service are having a public consultation at Tavistock Library on Monday the 12th of August from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. So can I encourage everybody to complete the consultation? There's a lot of facts in this, this communication, and also if you possibly can to attend the public consultation at the library. I think it's really important. This is a very valuable service to the town, and we, if possible, need to try and protect that. So, thank you. Item 11, urgent business brought forward at the discretion of the Town Mayor. I have nothing. Item 12, exclusion of press and public bodies, admission to meetings Act 1960. Can we move? Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you. Sorry, James. Thank you so much for coming. Barry's got the idea that he's the doorkeeper. Thank you. Right, item 13, Budget and Policy Committee continued. Councillor Williamson, please. Oh, sorry.